Happy Wednesday again. I am so glad to be back on your iPad or your iPhone or your laptop or wherever I might be with you right now. And as you can tell, I am in another very unusual location today. And right behind me is Ontario, Canada. And then right between me and Ontario is what I have been told is the most dangerous, they are the most dangerous rapids in America outside of the Grand Canyon. Of course, you know, the Colorado River flows through the bottom of the Grand Canyon, and that's a little worse than this, but these are Category 6 rapids, just a couple of feet behind me here. And so if I were to slip and fall in backwards, then Calvary Baptist Church would be looking for a new pastor. So this is a pretty rough spot here. The Niagara Falls is that way, and Lake Ontario is that way. So we're down here at the bottom of the gorge today. Now I want to read a passage of scripture to you that has a lot to do with that right there, okay? It's found in the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, and verse number 2. The Bible says, "When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow thee. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle upon thee." I love that passage. And by the way, the verse right before it says, "Fear not," okay? Fear not. When you walk through the water, it has that idea of raging rivers of water. He said, "I'll be with you." I thought about that. I thought about Moses, who passed through the water, but he walked through on dry ground, and that was not a river, it was a sea. And then I also thought about that, and I thought about Joshua, who passed through a river, but it was through the Jordan River on dry ground. That's not exactly the same either. But then, I guess the best biblical analogy I could find would have to be Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, because chapter 43, verse 2, it talks about walking through the raging waters, but also talks about passing through the fire. And he said, "I'll be with you." And you probably remember the story, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were placed in the fiery furnace, and they looked in, and they said, "We put 3 men in the fire, and there's 4, and of course the 4th one was the Son of God." But I think about that verse because it's exactly what it says, that he will be with you when you walk through those raging waters. These are Category 6 rapids behind me. That is as high of a category as you can get in whitewater rafting. Years ago, I went 2 times down the Youghiogheny River, and we got into an area of the river that was between Categories 4 and 5, and both times I went down that area, my raft flipped, and it threw me out, and I went floating down water, not quite that bad, but it was bad enough. It made me respect this. I don't want to land in that. I want to give you 3 real quick little thoughts here today, if I could. Number 1, I want to say that most of life is smooth sailing. Most of life is smooth sailing. I live right up the river, okay? If you were to go a few miles that way, I'm going to guess probably 7 miles, maybe 8 miles that way, you would come just within a little distance of where I live. And there, the water is calm, it is smooth. You don't see any rapids, you don't see any drop-offs or waterfalls. It is just calm and smooth. And hiking down, we came down that direction, and you can look out and you can see smooth water. But right here in the middle, it is horrifying. But the majority of the Niagara River is smooth. There are just parts of it that are scary. But what I want to say to you today is that you do understand, don't you, that most of life is smooth sailing. It's not that difficult most of the time. Now, you may be going through a challenging time right now, but you should pause and thank God for the good days you've had, and you should have faith in God that you have good days out ahead of you. So number 1 is most of life is smooth sailing. Number 2 is this: our need for God has nothing to do with the speed of the water. Our need for God has nothing to do with the speed of the water. You need God when life is like that. But you also need God when life is like that. You need God when life is like that. When life is easy, you need God. When life is hard, you need God. But I think sometimes what we do is we will turn to or from God based on how calm or scary the waters are. What God is looking for out of you is consistency. That you need to have a strong walk with Him when things are good. You need to have a strong walk with Him when things are bad. So number one, most of life is smooth sailing. Number two, our need for God has nothing to do with the speed of the water. And then number three, Jesus is there for you even when you are in over your head. Jesus is there for you even when you're in over your head. Matthew chapter 14 tells the story about Jesus walking on the stormy water. And the Bible says that Peter stepped out to meet Him out on the stormy water, and he actually walked on the water for a little bit, but we know the rest of the story. He took his eyes off Jesus and he began to sink. And when he began to sink, he reached out and Jesus took him out of the water. When the water's in over your head, Jesus is still there for you. I want to tell you today that Jesus was there for Peter when he was standing on the water. Jesus was there for Peter when he was sinking in the water. Jesus is there for you regardless of if you're succeeding or if you're failing. And I find incredible comfort in that today, and I hope you do too. I want to read you a couple of verses here before I wrap this up today. And these verses are found in the book of Romans chapter 8, the famous Romans chapter 8. And I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but just a few excerpts. Listen close. Verse 31 says, "If God be for us, who can be against us?" That means that can't be against you if God is for you. Verse 35, it says, "Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword?" What it's saying is that can't separate you from the love of Christ. Verse 36, it says, "Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through Him that loved us." Verse 38 says, "For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any creature shall be able to separate us from the love of God." Point being today is don't let the stormy, turbulent times take you away from God. Let them thrust you to God. Hey, have a great rest of the week. We love you, and I hope you'll watch the videos on Sunday. God bless.